Alrighty, we will go ahead and bring this BZA evening to order. And reminder, anybody who goes to the podium, please sign in. And anything that you say is expected to be truthful. We'll have the city attorney, Mr. Gullo, read the first case.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is case number 2019-209, Kimberly M. Unger, 212.5 Carroll Heights Road, Taneytown, Maryland. Property is located in the R10 zoning district, and the request is for a home-based family daycare. The official case file on this matter contains the application submitted by the applicant. Attached to the application is a sketch of the house as it sits on the lot, an interior and a detailed hand sketch of the interior of the house as it sits, a further detailed sketch of how the house sits in relation to the neighborhood, and a time and activity plan for the proposed daycare. There's also the legal notice, which was run in the paper, a copy of a sign which shows the house was posted, the letters which were sent to the applicant, and the copies of the zoning sections that applicable to tonight's hearing, copies to the neighboring property owners of the notice of the hearing, return receipts from the neighboring property owners saying they received it, the $600 escrow check for the night's fee, the receipt for the escrow check, and a copy of the notice which was run in the June 3rd Carroll County Times advertising tonight's hearing.
Thank you very much, sir. Alrighty, have the applicant go ahead and come on up. And a question for you, ma'am. Just thinking about expediting the explanation. Have you by chance thought through the 205-76 that talks about ingress, egress, off the street, refuse, electrical? Have you? If not, I'll guide you through it. Okay, no worries. Sweaty chair. Thanks.
Kind of work, maybe.
I would like to open a home daycare on our new address, which is 212.5 Carroll Heights Road. I had a daycare on Baptist Road for 3 years. We purchased our new home, and I would like to move my daycare to the new home.
Okay. And so your primary residence is the 212.5?
It is now,
okay,
as of Friday.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So I'm just going to walk you through the standards that go along with seeking permission to get this exemption. So the first one is entering and exiting the property and proposed structures thereon with particular detail or reference to automotive and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow and control and access in case of fire or catastrophe.
We had a fire inspection this week, and I have copies. I don't know if you need that. I just got those this week, but I was approved for the fire inspection, and those sleeping areas that I have listed on my emergency plan that you have a copy of, those were all approved for napping.
Okay.
For the driveway will be where they park. I saw someone come take pictures today. Our trailer is in the way, but we will move that back, and then they can park in the driveway and then right in front of the house to drop off and pick up their children.
Okay. Let's see, the next one, B, says off-street parking, which you just indicated there's a driveway, and loading areas where required, which I assume, well, it seems weird to think of little humans as things to load, but that was very festive. Thank you.
They'll use the side door there by the driveway to come in and out.
Okay. Let's see. Noise, glare, odor effects of the special exception on adjoining properties and properties generally in the district.
The only thing I can think is noise would be the play in the backyard. We actually are going to be using in the schedule, it does say about playground time. We will actually be, most of our time outside play will be on the playground at the park.
Okay,
That's why.
so past the baseball
Yes.
diamond out in that area, okay. Okay, C is refuse and service areas with particular reference to the items, yeah, so basically garbage.
Garbage, it'll be on the driveway where we keep our trash cans now.
Okay.
And then put away when it's time to be picked up by the town.
Did you previously have 8 children when you were on Baptist Road?
Yes, mhm.
Okay. Any ballpark for added amount, like an extra bag or 2 or 3 or?
An extra bag if you have infants,
Okay.
because of the diapers.
Okay,
Not all, you're only allowed 2 infants by state law, and then 2 under 2.
okay. D addresses utilities. Will you be adding any lighting or anything along those lines to the structure in or out?
We don't need anything as far as the fire inspection and things extra from what's already there.
Okay. Do you foresee adding any screening or buffering in terms of the home or the play area or anything along those lines?
The one thing that we are planning to add is through the backyard, we want to put a fence that goes from our property to the park,
Okay,
to go straight to the park.
okay.
A gate, I'm sorry.
Okay, so
I'm
an
sorry,
access.
a gate.
So is this, I was checking things out from the back part, is this the chain link fence that has the, okay. Okay, and y'all just moved in, is that your dog that has the Beware of Dog, or was that the previous owner?
The previous owner put the Beware of Dog. I actually didn't even know it was there until someone from the baseball park told me, because the baseball came in the yard.
Gotcha, okay,
We do have 2 dogs, though.
okay. And this is outside of our scope, I'm just curious, do you expect any upgrades to the chain link fence itself? It was looking a little rough, like that pole
We
kind
plan
of
to
rolling
fix
down.
all that.
Okay, okay. Let's see, do you foresee putting up any signs to advertise the daycare or have a name on the home or anything?
A front yard sign, I have a cardboard one from, oh, it's laminated, kind of like your yard sale signs that people put out. We have one from the other daycare, and I'm just going to bring it over if I get approved. And it just has, it's called Pitter Patter Play Daycare.
Okay. Okay. Would you be extremely put out if we were encouraging you not to have the sign out? Like by word of mouth, you know, you have your 8 altogether and
Yes,
that's
and I
good?
have a Facebook page for the other business, and so no, I wouldn't need a sign.
Okay, okay, thank you. Let's see, you've already addressed the fenced-in yard and then the gate access to the play area, that was G. And then H is general compatibility with adjacent properties and other properties in the district, which it's a residence and your home daycare. So I'm not really sure what else to address on that. Okay. Do you have any other individuals with you today to speak on behalf of this? If not, that's fine.
My husband, but I don't think he counts
You count, sir.
for this.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
He lives with me, that's not really fair.
All right, all right. So, anything in closing to tie it up? Okay. Okay, thank you very much for your time, ma'am.
Can she stay up there? There's a couple of questions.
Oh, you have,
Yeah.
okay, sure.
Go.
Go ahead.
I see on the back you have a deck.
Yes.
What state of repair is that in?
We just added a, or no, it's pretty good repair. We did add a gate today to the bottom part stairs, but not the deck.
You have steps, it looks like, going off of that. What are they? Are they wood or?
They're wood,
Okay.
and
Do you have railings?
there is railings, and then there's a gate at the top of the deck for the steps.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. And it's closed in?
Yes, it's closed in deck.
I do just have one other question here. You've got this all drawn out very nicely, but as I look at that, is this the first floor?
This is the first floor, and then to the side is the basement floor, and that will not be used for daycare at all.
Okay.
That's like
So
our
where would
main-
you actually live?
We'll live Well, we'll co-live, but the basement floor is our family room, a bathroom, and that's where we will be in the evenings.
Okay, okay. And you'll also be able to use the kitchen up?
Oh, yes. Hmm.
Okay, that's all I have.
Is the hot tub a functioning hot tub? Is that left
It
over
is,
from
and
the
it
previous?
has locks on it.
Locks on it, okay.
We just replaced the locks so that we knew that they were correct.
Okay. Any other questions from up here right now?
Yeah. On Baptist Road, you said you cared for 8 children. Will 8 children also be at this location?
Yes.
What are the ages?
They
From
are
youngest,
aged 4. My youngest one over there was 15 months.
the oldest?
The oldest is 4, and they're all in between.
When I went by there, there's not much room there for parking, dropping off. I was concerned about the intersection with, what is that, Banker Terrace and the road that comes by your house, also a sharp corner as you come around. Do all these children come at about the same time in the morning?
I have one that comes at 6:30, and then they all come from between 8 and 9, and they're usually staggered.
And there will be more room in the drive lane?
Yep, the van will be back, and then the front part of the driveway will be open, because my husband works before I even open. He's gone for work, so his car will not be there.
How many children do you have?
I have 2,
So it'll be 8 plus 2, or 8 including your 2?
8 plus 2. And they'll be at school during the, mine are older.
No buses will be dropping children off at your...
No, my kids can walk to school. They're able to walk.
Now, the property you're going to, you said you wanted to elongate your fence back to the park.
We'd like to just put
So
a,
your fence currently cuts through your property.
I think they're just gonna
It's
have
a-
a door, a gate,
Yeah, a gate.
a back
I mean, a
access.
gate, yeah.
Right now, it's a continuous fence.
Ah, she said fence, but she
So,
meant gate. Okay.
Fence is along the property line, I believe. It's just the idea of having a door on
I
it.
understand. I don't have any more questions, except I am concerned about the area for drop-off, pickup and drop-off. It's very limited.
So for you, is it a space thing and, let's say, in the middle of winter,
Space thing,
a lighting
period.
thing? Just a space thing, period, okay. I was thinking maybe some reflectors or something along the, for the winter when there's.
You do
not
know
so
what I'm
much.
talking about there? Yeah. The intersection and then the curve. The houses are,
One more question.
yeah,
You say you have 3 dogs?
2.
I have 2 dogs.
2 dogs, what kind?
I have a German Shepherd and a Black Lab.
Will they be in the house at the same time the 10 children will
Yes,
be in
they
there?
will.
Is there any protocol for the certifying agency? Because that's outside of our realm,
They
so
do.
I
They
assume
have to have all of their shots up to date, and they have to have their records, and she has all of that already for them from the other house. But yes, they do have to keep update.
Okay. Anything else for now? We can ask questions later if they come up. Okay, thank you, ma'am. All right, zoning administrator, Mr. Weber.
The Planning Commission reviewed the application at their May meeting and did make a favorable recommendation to the board. I did receive a telephone call from a nearby property owner expressing concern that there was a sex offender in the neighborhood. I went online, did a search, and didn't see any results in the immediate neighborhood. So I'm not sure where the neighbor was getting their information, but it didn't play out, at least not as far as anyone who was registered.
Okay.
So, and that's about it, unless anyone has questions regarding the code.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody here this evening to be a part of the public comment for this particular 212.5 property?
Hello, my name is Alan Ecker, property owner at 212 Carroll Heights Road. I'd first like to start off just saying, since they've moved in a couple of months ago, to be fair, they've been completely courteous and respectful neighbors. We haven't had any issues. That being said, my concern is that if this does get approved, that would cause neighborly issues. We are so close to them. As you mentioned, the roadway there is very tight around that corner. It's kind of right where our property and their property sets. If there is a vehicle on the corner of that property, it makes egress through that road there very tight. I know it's an issue for a different meeting, but vehicles tend to travel at a higher rate of speed. It's only 15 miles an hour on Carroll Heights, but vehicles tend to travel much faster than that on that roadway, especially around that corner. So, I mean, even one or two vehicles at a time just dropping off people would cause an impact for traffic coming through there. With one vehicle parked right around the curve where they'd have to park on street, it causes issues for two vehicles being able to pass through the roadway at opposite directions at the same time. In addition to that, on just a personal note, my wife and I purchased that house almost a year ago. We picked that area because we both work shift work. I'm a local police officer. I work midnights, a lot of shift work, a lot of overtime. We picked a quiet area. She works midnights as well. So that was obviously something we looked into when we were purchasing our house. So we sleep during the day. So the idea of having 8 or 10 children next door would obviously be concerning for us and not something we had planned for when we had purchased our house, to have a daycare center next door. In addition to that, if you look, there's already 14 registered care centers, whether it be at home or a actual facility in the direct area. That's just something we were trying to avoid when we purchased our home. That's really all further I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Some thoughts? Okay. All right. Is it Ms. Unger? Any response or reply or rebuttal to that, or any? You don't have to. I mean, I'm just offering the floor to you as part of the.
The only thing that I can say is we do have a structured schedule like you see. There is quiet and book time, and I was trying to, like I said earlier, take the noise away from the home by doing the playground. That is one reason we went ahead and bought the property there, because we did have the option to take them to the park instead of right there by other people's houses. And that's a nice change for them, the children as well, because they're not stuck in that area. They can take a walk to the park and they get a different scenery. And we do nap time, and for them being little, they sleep from anywhere from 2 to 2.5 hours. So I know that's not the whole day, but it is a very quiet time. That's all I can say for that.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. For the gentleman who was up earlier, so roughly from when to when do you sleep, sir, during the day?
That all depends.
Sure.
My job definitely is scattered. I typically have somewhere in the area of anywhere around 8, maybe 9 o'clock, depending if I have court. I might get home around 10 or 11. So typically I'd say my sleeping hours are probably between like 11 and 6 p.m.
Okay. So when I'm looking at the activity time, I see free play 8:10 and 9:45. Ms. Unger, would that be free play 8:10 and 9:45? Is that in the domicile or is that out and about?
That is usually inside. It's dancing music, puppet time.
So outdoor, we're looking 10 to 11 typically, and 3 to 4. Okay. All right, if there are no other comments, then we will close the public hearing portion. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My name is Paul Caparola. I live on 211 Carroll Heights. We've probably been there 32 years. It's been a quiet neighborhood. You know, got the ball playing across there. Of course, the subdivision behind us. It's changed a lot. Like Alan was saying, we've had a problem with speeding on that road, and to throw those kids there like that is going to create a big problem. We've complained many times to the town police. They've set up radars and stuff like that, and of course they do it during the middle of the day when everybody's at work and there's no speeding instead of nighttime. You know, these kids can be dropped off and things like that. I'm opposed to it, put it that way. I'll just let you know. It's nothing against them.
Sure.
It's nothing against them, but you know, when we moved in that street, I think if you check the bylaws there also, you're not supposed to be running a business out of there. So I think we need to check the bylaws for Carroll Heights also, because I do believe that there is a thing there run business and all. So just might want to look into it, okay? Because if not, I'll find our deed, and I think it's probably on our deed and all too. So it's something to look into.
So when you say bylaws, you mean actual Taneytown
For Carroll
zoning,
Heights, yeah,
or
for Carroll
like-
Heights, yeah.
So not HOA, like something?
Yeah, when Sam Breath set that it was Sam's Breath edition, Taneytown is what it was. And he set it up in there so that nobody ran a business on that street. Because I had a construction business, I couldn't even run out of there.
Okay,
So, all right.
okay, thank you,
Thanks.
sir.
Your name?
Paul Caparola?
Oh, Caparola.
Okay.
Yes, we didn't hear it.
Oh, that's okay, Carl. Not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
If I could just add one more thing.
Sure.
Just based off of what he said too, and what I was trying to clarify earlier, especially what he's saying about the children walking and with the parking situation and the speed on that street. For those of you who are not familiar, Carroll Heights does not have any sidewalks. So in addition to the on-street parking, there'd have to be, you know, some of the unloading may have to happen in the roadway there, right at the curb, with no sidewalks as an option. So they'd either be, you know, in their yard, our yard, and if it's right there at the corner, both of them are, or in the roadway, with the traffic being the way it is.
They can use my yard. My yard goes right down to the park. And it's right next to theirs.
And what's your address, ma'am?
Pardon me?
What is your address, ma'am?
Sell. Hey, who filled out the envelopes? I lived there 60 years. You don't know where I live? You can keep my tax bill.
I can show you the certified letter that I sent and,
Yeah, it went next door. There's nobody living there. I got mine 2 weeks late. Sorry.
Okay, we're sorry for that, ma'am. Okay, so no other public items? Okay, we're gonna close the public portion of the hearing, and we're gonna move into deliberation by the board. Those bylaws that were mentioned, can anybody enlighten us any more about that?
That's probably a deed restriction. So when a property is subdivided, any of the properties that are in that area can put a deed restriction. So what he's talking about is you can't have a business, and that would be applicable to all the properties that share the same restriction in the deed. However, it's not a city requirement. It's not a city zoning law. It's not a city ordinance. So it's not something we enforce. The bottom line would be, even if you said, yes, you can have this business there, somebody with that same deed restriction could say, no, you can't, and they could help stop it. If that makes sense.
Okay, so they would have to get together though, and what would be
A
their?
person who had a deed restriction would be able to enforce it. It wouldn't have to be a group.
Okay.
But you can only enforce it if you have that deed restriction, and the city doesn't have.
Okay, but the
One of those.
citizens who have the deed restriction could.
We wouldn't have privity to bring any action. And historically, when you all have made decisions, you can only make decisions based on what the zoning law says. And so whether it's zoned for it is one thing, but as you can see here, a private entity could say, I don't care what the zoning is, I'm going to put deed restrictions in to further restrict it.
Okay.
Follow that? That makes sense?
Okay. So if by our reasoning, A through G, we felt things were satisfactory and we said yes, ultimately, the deed restriction could stymie the actual daycare going into effect.
Yes, I mean, I can say it another way is that even if you didn't make the decision, let's say that it was zoned for a certain use, deed restrictions can stop that use regardless of whether the government says zoning can allow it. But the deed restrictions aren't enforced by the government, they're enforced by private property.
Okay. Thank you for that. So for the BZA, looking at A through H, for me, my concern is what was brought up, the property, it's kind of on that elbow arch. Today, I drove by it today, and it seems like there's also some vegetation in that area that doesn't make for easy line of sight as you go around that area. So that's where I'm gravitating towards trying to, I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? Because I don't know yet for me, but I know that's on my mind.
That's there.
Yes.
You're right, yeah. And I'm kind of with the other fellows with the traffic pattern back there. Now, we live up on Roberts Mill, and that may as well be Indianapolis 500. The business going back through Carroll Heights it's tight. It's really rough.
Is that kind of a cut through for people who want to bail off of 140 and get to 194 North?
That should not be, but I think sometimes it becomes that.
If it's backed up pretty far on 140. Yeah, right. Okay.
Bailout's more Roberts Mill, not Carroll Heights.
Yeah, that's true, but
Right, running parallel too, and then cutting over 194.
Carroll Heights just because everyone dumps on George Street and then back up to 140 again, or Roberts Mill.
Mm-hmm.
And our driveway is large enough for two vehicles. As they were taking pictures today, you see that we had a 6x8 trailer plus a large van. The trailer is planning on going back over to her mom and dad's house. So, yeah, we're delivering a table, so
Gotcha.
once it's gone, the van can go the whole way back to the double gate, which then leaves the entire concrete pad for two vehicles to pull in, and then unload the children, and then leave.
Mm-hmm.
Vegetation can be easily cut, pulled out. We can, her dad owns Bobcat, we can dig out a tree. That's nothing which then would open up both ways to be able to be seen.
What's the protocol if there's a lack of decisiveness? Kind of have to decide right now, yeah?
By this board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go out there and walk it some more.
Well, okay, I mean, I didn't think, you can't punt it forever, but in the event you feel like you've taken the public testimony and you feel like further information is needed, then you could continue the hearing, meaning you could stop it tonight and you could set another hearing date where you could then take more testimony, you could do site visits in between so you can do more information. What you couldn't do is you can't deliberate on it any further, and you can't make a decision without having reconvened and come back to public session.
Okay. And if we reconvened, we would need to open up the floor again, just like basically do the whole thing again.
You wouldn't have to redo the hearing. The applicant has already made her application. The people who have testified, and you close the public hearing. So on your deliberation, you certainly could say, I want to see, just as an example, the gate, the fence, the whatever, I want to go see that. So you could do a site visit that wouldn't really involve more public comment, but you
Okay.
could actually go do that. Have that site visit, then recite what you saw and have the
Okay.
deliberation. But you'd have to decide, is it a site visit as a group, which then you'd schedule because it would be public. People could come with you and watch you do this. Or is it something you're going to do on your own? And is that more helpful than as a group? Or you could, based on the testimony that you have in front of you, you make the decision based on the testimony you were given. But we would want to avoid a reconsideration issue.
Yes.
We would want to, if you're not sure and you need more information, it would be best to continue it until you all did it. But again, you've closed the public hearing, so it wouldn't be any more public comment. It would be more on your own investigation.
So what I'm still pondering from my point of view is the ingress and egress. So I totally hear that you could get 2 vehicles on the pad. My concern is, if they go nose first, they're going to have to back out along that curved area. And so that's where I'm kind of seizing up a bit, just thinking about that logistically. If, let's say, 3 autos, happen to arrive at the same time and it's morning or evening. So that's just personally what I'm going over in my noggin. And I'm feeling kind of uneasy about it. When you were at the other location, was there more? Was there a sidewalk? Was there more land? Okay. Because it is kind of a tight, boom, boom, boom area. What are your thoughts, Ms. Kelso?
I'm concerned with the roadway there, as I initially said. But I think we should go ahead and vote now,
Okay.
because I don't think going there is going to change anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the overgrowth that you were talking about, but I'd feel better if I had a chance to look at it again and look at the turn some more.
So you're kind of leaning towards possibly revisiting?
I would.
And would you want to do that individually?
Works for me.
Okay. What do you think, Carl?
I agree with Larry. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're individually going to look at it again?
Well, individually or a group, it doesn't matter to me.
I'm thinking individually.
Okay, we can do that.
That's the schedule. So 3 out of 4 of us are kind of digging that.
Okay, so what you're going to need to do is you need to make a motion to continue this hearing until a site visit can occur.
Okay.
That's the first. So you make a motion and you pass that. The hearing would be continued when it can be scheduled again, meaning you're not going to set the date. It'll be a date that we do and then a date that we advertise that it'll be heard again.
Okay.
The potential day is
August 6th.
August 6th. So by the end of the night, we'll know whether you're having a hearing again that night, and if you are, that would be the day, but that's not guaranteed.
Right.
So that's what you need to do.
Can I make that motion? So
Okay.
made.
Okay. So there's been a motion made that we continue the deliberation onto a future date. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Okay.
4-0. Okay, so what the public, so we'll reiterate it so you understand what's happening. The case tonight, the public has been heard, and the board has decided that they want to go do a site visit to actually see what has been said versus what's out there and get a picture in their mind. They need to do that before we have another public hearing. The board may be having a public hearing on August 6th, and may have that hearing that night. Anyone who received a notice or who didn't receive a notice, and we'll get one this time, you'll get a letter in the mail saying when the hearing is going to be. There'll be a reposting of the property, and there'll be an advertisement in the newspaper, so that basically like tonight, so you know to show up at the next time. So, any questions about the procedure?
So I'm sorry to have us in a waiting pattern, holding pattern. My apologies. Thank you very much for everyone who came to speak tonight. Definitely gave us a bit to think about. And so, yeah, we'll take what we've heard, and I'll compare it to my earlier understanding, and we'll let you know about the next time around. Okay? Thank you. So we're gonna take a little break before the next one.
Oh, yeah.
The first time it went to next door because you call up there and raise hell.
On that house,
She did because
that house.
money is her business. Not that house. It is my business.
Oh, yeah. That kind of,
I returned it.
that's right.
I didn't want to accept
What's
it.
that? I missed what you said.
I returned it. I wanted
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, just to be clear,
Did she run it there on Carroll Heights, or she ran it down where she has it now?
parking pad in the front, like took
Yeah,
away
no,
grass,
she's still open.
and put down like gravel.
Yeah.
To make
She
it
does
wider,
a
make
couple,
it
I
safer
guess.
for kids. Because right now, I usually park my vehicle on the corner. So that usually leads
No, she's
from
not.
the sidewalk to the driveway and then the driveway. So what I'm wondering.
What sidewalk?
We have a sidewalk that goes up to the front door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There goes your deed, doesn't it?
You wouldn't want to do that too.
Well, that's not Carroll Heights.
This is her job. She doesn't have a job out Christmas next month. So
Oh, yeah.
So I'm trying to
Robert's
do
Mill.
whatever I can to make this happen.
Yeah.
So if I've got to
She's
tear
just
up
up the
front
street
door
from me.
and put gravel down, I can do that. We got a ball pad.
Yeah, she's never had it back-
Grass right now.
As far as I know, she's never had it back on Carroll Heights.
Then we go from having street parking to having an extended.
basically,
It was her parents' house, I believe.
pull up onto the front of the yard and then
Yes.
enter back in. So that's
Yes.
what you're proposing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can find
Because like I
out.
said, we could probably have that done in a week's time.
Sure.
But like I said, if that would help ease
They do.
some of the, you know.
It's where they
ease
live.
the minds, like I said, we can make it happen.
She had it in
Should
what,
get
her
Bob
parents'
back
house?
next weekend.
Yeah.
And following week have it done.
She had it in something house from where they live.
That would help.
Because she's
You know,
been
like I
there
said, we could-
as long as I've lived up there, and I've lived there since
I'm not-
92, I
That's
think.
sitting there, I can rip it out. Bob can rip that out.
Sure.
Even when
So,
her
like
parents
I
were
said,
still
if
alive,
that would help.
she had to
I'm
shop
just trying
there.
to, trying to help you. Like, I
I'll find
understand the parking issue. Sure. It's
I'll see
street
Donald
parking.
shortly.
Yeah, so,
How about you hold for a little bit on that? Like, thank you for sharing that idea, and I'll share that with everyone up here, so when we go take another look, we can have that in our minds to visualize, and it's possible that, you know, and I'm not saying we would grant or not grant, but let's say sometimes we can grant with conditions. You know, like, so make a motion to grant the home daycare without a sign and with, you know, the off-street pull-in, you know, that you shared. So that would be a possibility, a condition that would be attached. And so then that would give you time to get it done rather than doing it now, not knowing the outcome.
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you,
All right,
sir.
Thank you. Thank you guys for your time.
You bet.
So what he just shared was, the yard goes up to the curb.
Gotcha. The eye in the sky never lies. That's out there, okay?
It was okay, he shared that though, right? It was okay,
Well,
he shared the idea.
It's good, I mean, you can't stop that, but
Okay.
you all can't deliberate, at least on the camera.
Round two.
All right, we ready to go ahead and roll?
There you are.
It was at 8 o'clock, right?
I'm back.
You're good to go, and your applicant is here, so.
Giddy up. Sorry for the delay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and roll into the next one. I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry. All right, so BZA second session, come to order. Mr. Gullo, please read the case.
Okay, we have case 2019-210. The applicant is Jennifer L. Nundley Sanders at 137 West Baltimore Street in Taneytown, Maryland, and would like to reopen a child daycare center in her home. She was licensed in Baltimore County and relocated to Taneytown and wants to continue to do her service. In the official case file, we have the application which was filed which contains the standard pages, a sketch drawing of how the house sits on the property and the relating areas around it, a photograph of the house from the street, a photograph of the rear of the house with some dimensions drawn on it, a photograph of showing the driveway with some dimensions drawn on it, a text description of what's going to go on at the house, a photograph of the house, a sign posted on the house to show that this hearing was notified, a copy of the legal notice which was put in the Carroll County Times, a copy of the correspondence sent to the applicant telling her about the hearing and telling her about what statutes of law are applicable thereto, copies of the letters which were sent to the adjoining and neighboring property owners, a receipt for the escrow amount of $600 for tonight's hearing, the return receipt cards from the letters which were sent to the neighbors, and a copy of the June 3rd Carroll County Times legal notice advertising today's hearing.
Thank you very much, sir. Alrighty, so as before, please come to the podium and sign in. And everything that you say, you're under oath for this, so if you can please share with us your opening statement and what you plan to do.
My name is Jennifer No Donnelly Sanders, and I would like to reopen my daycare at 137 West Baltimore Street. As listening to the previous, I am aware that Harney Road is a horrible intersection, so I do have a driveway right there that is hard to get out of. That is why I included the back driveway, which faces the park and has its own entrance to come around, as well as park spacing, if need be. For morning, that way they wouldn't have to deal with the front of the house where all of the traffic goes in the morning, especially when school starts. If I do have before and after school care, the bus does pick up at Memorial Drive, I believe it is. There is a sidewalk where I would walk them down to, which is about a half a block away or so. So like I said, there is a sidewalk, so that wouldn't be an issue as far as traffic goes on that end. There are 4 entrances into my house. There is one in the back where they would be able to walk through the yard safely, and then come in the back, or they can come in the side. I wouldn't even have to use the front entrance if I didn't have to. That's the one that faces the street.
So just so I understand, I know there's that one way that goes to there's a parking lot behind your property, yes, so you're talking about those spaces?
Yes,
And then
for
there
the
was
driveway.
And then there was a gate that they could access there or go around the side, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Let's see, and from what you provided, it seems like you answered pretty much A through H. So you said 8 children, only accept ages 2 to 12.
As of right now, yes.
Okay, hours of operation, weekdays from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. But you'd also, you say, offer before and after school care should the parents need that?
Yes.
So roughly, what would be your expectation for the start time before 7, and what would be the latest, do you think?
I would do 7 to 5:30, only because my husband leaves at 6:30 in the morning and gets home between 6 and 6:30. And with him working all day long, I would like him to come home to have some peace.
Gotcha.
I know that most of them are 6 to 6. That's why I'm trying to work both schedules.
Okay.
He's an HVAC tech,
Gotcha.
commercial, so he is done by the time he comes home. And we have a 6-year-old, so she's always jumping on daddy, so I don't need 8 more jumping on him.
So the 7 to 5:30 basically includes that possibility of before and after?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Let's see.
And as far as trash goes, I don't anticipate there being a lot more. I will be offering breakfast, lunch, and snacks. So I'm gonna say maybe 1 to 2 bags extra a week, and there are receptacles that we keep on the property that would accommodate that.
Okay. And you said no sign for the property?
Prefer not to, but if it is encouraged, I will work on that.
Okay. Discouraged.
Okay, good.
Let's see. Okay. So you've addressed A, which is ingress and egress. You've also addressed B, which is off-street parking and loading. You've addressed C, which is the garbage. So when you said open again, so previously you had a child daycare at
Yes.
that property?
Not at that property.
Okay.
We relocated in October to Taneytown from
okay.
Baltimore County.
Okay.
Baltimore County, I opened September of 2015 and closed right before our move in September of 2018.
Okay.
So now I'm looking to reopen here.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you.
All right. I know the fence is a rather impressive fence, and that seems to be screening and buffering for, children running amok. Let's see, signs address that. Yards fenced in, other open space. I suppose you might take the opportunity to go to the park at times. Okay. And then general compatibility, which, I think that's been addressed. Questions?
Yeah. You talk about this driveway that goes all the way through.
It does not go all the way through. It's two separate driveways. One that you access from West Baltimore Street and the other one you accessed when you turn down to go to the park.
Oh, so there's actually one behind you then?
Yes.
That comes in where that fence shows?
It's right next to the fence. It's right actually behind our garage. You turn into it from the parking lot.
Okay. You have just one other child?
Yes.
Now, here again at the back, I'm assuming you're using the first floor?
Yes.
Okay.
I would
are
prefer to
there-
keep our top floor, that's our
Are
bedroom.
there any decks, are there any steps behind the house where you would take the kids?
We have a porch, well, it's a porch. When you come out of the door, there are 3 steps and they are concrete and it has a metal railing.
Yeah,
going
railing.
down. Yes.
I don't have anything.
Yeah.
Ms. Kelso?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. All right. I don't see anybody else unless they're not in view to speak on your behalf, so you're a one-person show. You're good? Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. We might have more questions, but we're good for now. Mr. Ruprecht?
Nothing much to add, other than that the Planning Commission took a look at this one at their June meeting and made a favorable recommendation on this one as well.
Okay. All right. Doesn't seem like there's anyone here for public comment. All right. Thus, there's nothing to rebut. So we'll go ahead and close the public hearing portion. All right. So deliberation by the board. I don't have concerns.
I don't have any.
I have no concerns.
Okay. Might someone move to?
So moved.
All right. Second?
Second.
All right. So with no signs as a condition, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no? Okay, granted.